WoW is coming apart at the seams. Oh no, I don't know if this is about the raid or what. I know actually the race to world first, it's been a bit more buggy than usual lately. So let's see what's going on here with the raid, the bugginess, evoker disconnects maybe. Let's see what's going on here from Bellular.
We've just fallen into a funky spot with WoW. Let me explain. In every time loop movie and story, the hero eventually realizes that what they were doing was wrong and they find a way out. Not Blizzard. We're now watching them make the same mistakes every few months, Lord. And I genuinely hate to say that patch 12.1 is no different. Ish. Because in a way, it's very different. Because unlike minor patches that have came out with issues like the 0.5s and the 0.7s, this is a major patch. And we have literally never had a major patch launch with such insanely broken things. And the worst part about that is a bunch of the new patch is actually brilliant when it works.
Yeah, the first story you'll find kind of shocking from Blizzard's.
I will say, I think that the patch has been fun to play. And actually, maybe I just bypassed them all. I don't know. I didn't experience a lot of bugs. What I feel like is happening now is since the season kicked off, actually, I feel like there's more bugs. There's raid issues right now. There's some dungeon issues. I feel like that's where a lot of the bugs are sitting right now.
Home state. And that's the California regulators just hit a data broker called National Public Data with the maximum fine. And that's because of a breach that reportedly exposed 2.9 billion records. That's why I run today's sponsor, Incogni. Now, the fine was, by the way, for not registering the data breach, so, that's even worse. And the breach reportedly exposed people's names and social security numbers. That's really bad, and Incogni's really good because they hunt down the data brokers holding your personal information, and they file removal requests on your behalf. That means that people won't be able to go to those data brokers and, buy your information, or if those data brokers happen to be breached, well, your info will have been taken down.
Man, Lord, you're telling me to do an S-fan react? I haven't done one of those in a long time.
Continually rescans to ensure your data is kept down. And on the dashboard, you see who's been contacted, who's actually removed you, and where you're still exposed. And if you take a look at my dashboard,
Denflup says, did Bellular have a hair transplant? He did, yes. In one of his videos, he mentioned that he had gotten a hair transplant. Looks like it worked.
And for me, it's important because my name and face are public. My address, lots of other things, they don't need to be. Now look, no one defense is a magical solution. The best defense is a layered one, and I think Incogni is a vital layer to having your internet defenses. And that's because they can shrink how many brokers are carrying your name, your address, your phone, your email, all around the internet. Ad. That just means there's less threat surface area that you are exposed to. Now, viewers of this channel get 60% off the annual plan at incogni.com/bellularwarcraft. That's incogni.com/bellularwarcraft, code bellularwarcraft. The link is down below. With that said, let's get back to it.
Very nice.
I'm going to start it off light and breezy with the less serious things that broke, though it is kind of wild what broke. As an example, if you logged in and found that your character felt different to play, that its turn speed changed, either on the ground or while skyriding, well, don't worry, you are not alone. Something's gone awry in Blizzard's End with character settings, which has also messed with skywriting. Now, some people are reporting success by setting one of the settings back to the default value of 180 with console commands. Some say they need to set it to 190 first and then back to 180. Then it'll work. It's a weird situation, but an important one. Nothing is more important to a game than how the character you play controls, and with this patch it broke for loads of people. Other less important things, of course, did break as well. We've got the likes of Thunderbluff where the elevators are missing, so good luck if you...
Oh my god, the elevators are missing in Thunderbluff? That's actually hilarious. What the hell? This is what I don't understand sometimes, and how everything's interconnected in this game. How does adding a new season to the Midnight stuff, which has nothing to do with Thunderbluff, affect the elevators in Thunderbluff? They essentially deleted them? What the hell?
You're a new player who thinks the Tauren are cool, then with player housing, it maybe seems something broke again, and the same goes for Runeforges for Death Knights, where the Legion version of Arcturus has got no visible Runeforges. You can use the Runeforge, it's just you won't be able to see.
Wait a minute, I went and did the Runeforge. That thing's gone now? It was deleted, oh my god.
It. Probably a housing-related thing, just like the elevator in Siege of Orgrimmar from the last time there was housing changes. And it may even be that the new pet
Spaghetti
features for
Cody.
housing have led to pet battle dungeons apparently being broken as well. Now that's all just a tiny sampling, because everywhere you look, there are mixed reports of minor to medium problems.
Do you guys think, see, somebody said Claude did it. Do you guys think they could be vibe coding with Claude over there at Blizzard HQ? And like these young coders don't know what's going on and they're just fucking shit up because they keep using AI to code shit for them. It's funny. AI has done a lot of things for a lot of companies and increased, increased efficiencies, but it also creates a lot of problems. It does, because it doesn't have common sense, and it'll just be coding shit and deleting shit and doing all kinds of stupid stuff. AI tuning for sure. Yeah, wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, I think so. While AI has created a lot of solutions, it's also created a lot of problems. I will say that, like dumb problems that people would have caught for sure had they been doing it.
Things like Ruby life pools being broken on Heroic, one of the Shadow Enclave Delve variants being broken, the Alliance Garrison mine
That's
being
hilarious,
broken,
Lord.
boss doors are staying locked after kills, Shadowlands achievements aren't working, and the Focus Quest
Shadowlands
pop-up
achievements?
is absolutely tormenting everyone. It's just issue after issue, which nowadays is part of playing WoW. Of course, software has bugs. I get that. Minor issues are generally excusable, but the issue is it doesn't end there. Because on a more serious note, more people are reporting crashes and disconnects. Our guild's warrior sometimes crashes when he looks at world quests. It's pretty bad out there for current players, but of course, returning and new players are facing genuinely broken content at every turn. And that's because whatever they're doing in Midnight appears to be reliably breaking quest and event scripting all across the old game. But the thing is, all that stuff I just reported was present since patch day. But of course, WoW patches have a second patch day, and that is
Yeah,
the
the
day
seasonal
that the
release.
new season launched.
Right.
And this is the one that really stands out.
This is the worst day one thing we have experienced ever by a lot.
That's Max talking about the Race to World first, though it's very
Yeah, it's
much
been
not
buggy.
just a top-end player issue. In the new raid, we've got unkillable bosses, we have RP scenes that stun the entire raid until the raid disbands, insane lag that makes the game unplayable, and emergency hotfixes cutting massive, truly massive amounts of HP off end bosses. Battle.net
Yeah,
servers were
overtuned.
down at EU primetime. The Omnium Folios effects have also started pulling entire dungeons full of mobs on top of players, bricking tons of Mythic Plus keys. And
Oh,
we're
no.
seeing legions of complaints about overwhelming trash in the raid, and odd things like the raid not counting toward the campaign quest.
Yeah, the trash in the raid, we talked about it. Is there like some kind of thing that's being changed about this? An ungodly amount of trash in this raid feels like the worst trash we've ever had in a raid, both in terms of count and RP events. I didn't feel like the raid had a lot of trash early on, but for some reason in the middle, yeah, the trash did feel like, my God, we are just hacking through trash now for 20 minutes. That is what it felt like. And somebody made a comment about it in chat when we were raiding on Friday. They're like, this raid is a lot of trash. And it did feel that way. It was like something after maybe the third or fourth boss. There's just a really long run of a lot of trash to get through. And then if you stop there and you come back, you got to re-clear all that shit. So yeah, that does get annoying real fast.
Counting toward the campaign quest. Then there's other things like normal and heroic seemingly being way harder than usual, given of course the huge cuts that they had to make to later on boss health. It seems that they just did not have enough time to just run the numbers and balance this raid. We have other problems though, like players not getting all 4 sparks like they should have and getting massively confused over the
Oh, no.
tracker currency showing you not how many you have, but how many you are supposed to have. What it all amounts to is death by 1,000 cuts. That's the only way to describe this, really. Almost no one has logged in and been unscathed. I've seen a few bugs. None of them were particularly egregious, but was still kind of annoying. Though I'd be more than just kind of annoyed if it was my raid night and my social time with my friends getting sunk by the raid being busted.
Speaking of raid, there has been that issue where I invite a player and they show up as unknown until they get into the raid. It's been really weird, and you can't see anything about them, no information, no class stuff, no name. They just show up as a block that says unknown in the raid until they actually zone in, and I have no idea why that's been happening.
And then there's power scaling in Mythic Plus. If you go into Mythic Plus, you can kind of gigapool entire rooms. Solo and world content does work fine now, which is good, but that's because they had a week to rush out barebone fixes. And even then, you'll be hit by lag or Battle.net outages. It is rough, and to be fair to Blizzard, and especially fair to the developers thrown onto this issue, many of the problems were fixed within a few days, as is expected.
Yeah, they're reacting.
But it does mean that once again, patch day has been poisoned. And that is an experience WoW just cannot afford to be giving its paying customers. Bugs are one thing, but I don't think they're really the problem. All this haste is making Blizzard fall into making the same mistakes at the design level. It's almost like they're not actually learning anything, which is a depressing sentiment to have. But honestly, given the track record over the last 2 years, and it now happening to a major patch, not just a minor patch, that is, I think, the only sentiment that's reasonable now. And that's especially because I haven't even dove into some of the worst of it, because there's very likely content that you're completely missing. Did you know about the curse part of the Curse of Ulatek? What exactly are curse surges? Now, if you don't know the answer to that question, I don't blame you.
I think it's that group content that you do underground, right? You join a raid, a giant open world raid, and then you just clear all the shit out. And somehow you complete like 3 quests doing that. I think that's what he's talking about. No, they on land, not underground. See, I don't even know what it is. So he's proving his point. I don't even know what that shit is. What is that freaking shit? I have no idea. I thought he was talking about the underground stuff.
Basically, they start every 45 minutes and they're over in about 3 minutes, so there's a decent chance you've literally never seen one of these happen or never even noticed it on the world map. Now that would be a problem because you need to do 3 of them for the weekly quest, which basically just means either setting reminders via the in-game event window, which is a great bit of UI, or just flying around the island for a few hours hoping you are in the right place at the right time. There's no warning or startup period like there is with most event spawns in the map, so if you don't keep your eye on the clock, you will miss it. And if you're down in the vaults, well, when you hit your map key,
that's where you're
not going to see it if it is active. Meaning, most people, I'd reckon, don't even know this feature exists. Plus, as many have pointed out, there's an achievement for doing 300 of these. Damn. Initially, it was 300, and that would have meant that to get the Cursebreaker title, you would have had to spend 225 hours, aka 300 events. Which is a lot of time. Now, of course, if we average those out to 5 minutes, it would still take you 25 hours of actual gameplay. Gameplay that would involve doing 5 quick events over and over and over again, once every 45 minutes, for 25 hours.
Jeez.
Thrilling. Now, of course, Blizzard have fixed this. The achievement now needs 150, and progress in each is a lot slower, which means you've actually got time to go to the event. Job done then. Forget about it until the next time we need to make the same fix in the next patch. Great. And I say that because it's not like it's Blizzard's first time shipping a feature with these massive flaws. These glaring issues that are apparent a mile away, that are pointed out on PTR, but that don't get fixed before launch, meaning that we ultimately are paid beta testing.
Still, I mean, this is bad, but still one of the worst ones I've seen was when they did the Hallowfall events. I forgot what that shit was called, but those live events in Hallowfall that dropped during one of the patches in the War Within was so broken, it ruined the game. Like, you couldn't play. You just couldn't play the game. It was so bad. Yeah, I wanted that mount too. And it was just like, man, you get in there, you can't finish the event, everybody's lagging, nothing's summoning, people were dying from shit you couldn't even see. It was horrible. So, I mean, this is bad, but that was absolutely wretched.
For this game, which doesn't really feel great, because of course, we're not being paid, we're paying them to beta test their own game. Now, of course, when you think about it, there's a chance they had an idea here. The real grind of the patch is down in the vaults, and by the way, it is an excellent bit of old-school MMO grindy goodness. So maybe they just wanted you to use the event tab to set reminders and hop out of the vaults every 45 minutes as a break. Sure, I like the idea, but the sloppiness means you've made a major weekly quest for your expansion a nightmare for people staring at a blank quest marker, and now you've had to rush to fix up the situation. So it's a bit weird upstairs. But that's not to say that downstairs in the vaults has not had its issues. It certainly has, ones like strikes and incursions breaking. But we can at least chalk those up to patch day server nonsense that they did thankfully iron out rather quickly. And what that amounts to is yet another patch where it feels like Blizzard's team have had to absolutely sprint to the finish, and even doing that, have not had enough time to make sure that the patch releases at a good level of quality.
Yeah, I don't know. He like Beliar's talking about. I don't know if he's like the timing. If 8 weeks is just too quick to release these patches or what. But like Josh said it in chat just now, at least the expansion is kind of fun to do. I will say this patch has been fun. That's why this stuff's kind of sad because like you could tell they put in some good work. I kind of like where things are going here. The story is not bad, and the raid's been pretty fun. Outside of any bug issues, the content's been kind of fun. The new island's kind of cool. So I mean, all of it's been pretty good. But then you get all these issues popping up, and it kind of like ruins their hard work. It gives their hard work a bad name, basically. Where now all you're seeing is YouTube headlines about how the game's broken. So that kind of sucks.
That's certainly not the end of today's news because, as it turns out, the game is haunted.
Oh, the game's haunted now.
If the single button assistant isn't enough for you, how about fully autopiloted characters? No, that's not a feature in the game, and it probably won't be, but it was actually happening this week. A group running Ruby Lifepools had their evoker disconnect, but then something weird happened.
By the way, evoker disconnects, we talked about it this morning, is a real thing. That class specifically is disconnecting at an insane rate. And people and the player base is trying to figure out why. It might be some of their specific abilities that are causing disconnects or visage form issues. Blizzard has acknowledged that evokers are disconnecting more than any other class, but nobody knows why. So hey, there you go.
The evoker kept on playing, even though they weren't connected to the game. It was not doing great damage, but it was actually hitting buttons. It wasn't just auto-attacking.
No
It was
way.
even healing, and it even cast rescue on another
Single button
player.
rotation?
Seeing the story break, everyone jumped to the same conclusion. Blizzard must be testing out some new anti-disconnect tech, maybe by giving their NPC player AI the controls of your character should you DC, so that maybe in the time it takes for you to log back into the game, you haven't
Interesting.
completely screwed your group. A really good theory, but not quite. Zorbix announced a fix to this and said that in Blizzard they thought that the AI was somehow hijacking people's characters, but that the problem ended up being something else.
Oh my god.
Hopefully he gets around to doing a write-up, because I don't like
It's AI's taken over. That's it. Where the Terminator has begun. Fully out the AI taking over players, that would be hilarious. My god.
thinking about AI ghosts on the servers. Who knows, but personally I like to believe it's the entity from the last 2 Mission Impossible movies, just getting hooked in World of Warcraft instead of being an evil villain. Our next oddity is less of a bug and more of a weird oversight, though it's led to a lot of people doing a lot of degen gameplay. And it's all enabled by Valeera's new curio, Dun-Dun's Favor.
It's the
Dun-Dun's
best.
Favor lets you loot curios mid-combat to deal some damage, and you do that by just running over them. That's the mechanic
it.
that enables our oversight. The oversight itself comes from Blizzard turning off Valeera's XP gain this week, except from these curios. Plus, the new Ring of Glory delve has the curios located close together with very few mobs. Now, do you see where I'm going with this? Power leveling. People are power leveling Valeera
I did a
by
little
running
bit of
around
it.
this delve for literally hours on end. It's
Yeah.
crazy. All you do is grab Dun-Dun's Favor, which you'll do as you're unlocking your delve tiers all the way up to 11. You just keybind this leave delve macro, and then you just run over all of the curios and just keep on doing it until Valeera hits level 80. It's fast and easy, but comes at the cost of 5 or 6 hours of your life
Oh
being
my
spent running around in circles. So in my view, not worth it. Though to many, the power is absolutely worth it because it will help them getting the Hall of Fame Delve achievement for
So I said I did this, but I didn't do that exactly. I ran over shit and cleared the whole delve. I was completing the delve every time I was leveling up my delve levels to level 11. And I was doing this one over and over, and I had the dun-dun thing, so I was running over the shit. This is a bit more degenerate. You're not even doing the delve, you're just running through everything and then getting the hell out.
or beating Azratek. So that's a weird situation going on with delves, but to follow it up, we've got a weird situation going on with our boy Astalor.
Oh no.
One player, Jaden, has already done what a lot of people wish they could. Become the Servant of Astalor. That's the title for maxing out the Prey Renown in Season 2. And if you want to know just how much devotion this took, here's a clue.
Hold on. I mean, this player is a bit... Look at this, the little image right here in the bottom corner of his screen. It's his character player making out with Astalor. So this guy's an Astalor fanboy. No wonder why he was able to become his servant. I grinded an insane amount of praise. No wonder, Jesus. I regret nothing. Yeah.
Jaden has made an
Astalor
Astalor
fanboy.
plushie and commissioned a custom Astalor body pillow.
Jesus.
Fairly, wouldn't it taste? Now, it took 80 hunts per level, all the way from level 2 renown up to 10 renown. That's 640 hunts. That's because
It's
the
a her.
random hunt feature is unlocked at rank 2, and those give 50 rep each. She ran 640 normal hunts, taking 2 to 5 minutes each, and within each hunt, almost all the progress was from clicking traps and clicking on the anguish blobs. Being a druid helped out too, for a bunch of reasons, but even then, this was somewhere in the range of 30 to 40 hours of repetition. Now that should not have been possible for Season 2, because...
Is that an Astrolore butt plug? I'm not sure. I'm not going to go back and review the. We're not going to do a butt plug review here. But it's a girl. Okay, I just assume all girls in WoW are guys, until proven otherwise.
Well, Season 2 hadn't really been out for long enough to do that.
Don't ask how I learned that
And that is
lesson.
because, mistakenly,
Gold shine.
this renown was opened up earlier, and that meant that you could just chain run the randoms for 50 rep each. Now, to be honest with you, for everyone's sake, I hope this one isn't rolled back for this player, even if it does technically have a gearing benefit, because at rank 9 you unlock a way to get extra hero gear from the prey feature. She may actually be the only player in the world able to make use of that, because it doesn't seem anyone else fully made use of this renown being opened a week earlier than it should have been. And that is, of course, the case. You'll notice that the Delver's Journey for Season 2 only opened up when Season 2 started, which was not the case for Prey. And obviously, if it was just cosmetics, it wouldn't really matter, it would just be a little thing. But in this case, it is inconsistent. This time, Astrolore rewards gear, and his renown was lying wide open, while the Delve Journey was still locked. Obviously, less important now because Season 2 is out, but it does highlight the somewhat slapdash nature that this game is being built with.
Nice.
We've had a fun enough time today looking at all the chaos that's emerged from the patch. Now, in the long term, none of this stuff really matters in strictly an internal gameplay sense. At least that's what Blizzard will probably say to justify it. There were issues, we fixed the issues, there you go. And maybe they're right. I mean, dungeons can be rebalanced, bosses can be nerfed, character problems can be corrected over time.
Yeah,
But-
as far as the tuning goes, I think Blizzard would rather release overtuned fights and then slowly nerf them over time rather than release fights that are undertuned and then you got like Race to World First being cleared out in a week or something, or too many bosses being too easy to kill. I certainly believe that's their philosophy. Just maybe this time around they've just a bit too much overtuning. That could have been where they went.
Here we are, our third patch of Midnight, and the third patch where playing on launch day would have basically been a mistake. And this sort of thing is important for the game, except that playing in patch day maybe wouldn't be a mistake. It clearly is important because if you don't play in patch day, well then you may miss out on exploits, or FOMO things like getting Fabled
true.
Asterek. These nightmarish launches take away from what should just be pure good vibes. And that's because much of the patch is great. Hell, the main patch story, even if we ignore the absolute disaster of an ending, was actually pretty
I
damn
haven't
good.
seen the ending yet.
Up until we found out that's where it just stopped and how it just stopped. Many of the campaign quests were detailed and atmospheric in the ways that I desperately would love WoW to lean into more. And sure, there are quibbles elsewhere. The Vault's talents could be a bit more engaging, but the actual content down there is a really well-placed MMO grind that makes you feel like you are in a big world full of other people all playing the game together,
Yeah, agreed.
which is awesome. Season 2 absolutely has a chance of being a resounding success between, say, the raid gear buffs and the eventually great dungeons, but instead, people are all over Reddit and forums frantically asking how to fix their game, how to make their character move correctly,
The
turn
no elevator in
correctly,
Thunderbolt's
or perhaps
hilarious.
raging at Blizzard for making the same mistakes over and over and over again. I know WoW is an old and complicated game, but it feels like the fabric of the game is just unraveling more and more with each patch. How do elevators go missing without anyone noticing? Do they not have an automated test suite that can find out this sort of problem? Because you can do things like that. It's all rather bizarre and a little depressing, because honestly, I'm loving patch 12.1 as I play it so far. I am excited
Yeah, me
for
too.
the
I think
raid,
it's a good
as
patch so far.
always. But I am getting too tired of release day being a showcase of things that are going wrong.
True.
And I think a lot of people might feel the same way. There's a reason we say that first impressions count. And by now, our first impression of multiple patches back to back has been that World of Warcraft is a game barely held together. And if it's anything like recent times, well, now we will wait. We maybe get another apology from Ian where he says once again that there is not any major problem, that the 8-week patches are actually just fine, and the next time there will be better. Maybe he'll follow it up by saying that there is indeed no war in Ba Sing Se. Time and time again, the same line has been wheeled out, but the action has obviously not came. Results are what matter here, not intent. Especially so because this is a game people pay a subscription fee to play.
Right.
I've said it before and I will say it again. This way of making the game might be working for now, but there's no way these devs are able to do interesting and creative work when they're being sent into the panic trenches for 1 or 2 weeks out of every 8 weeks that they work.
That's true. I didn't even think about that. If you're constantly fixing the patch release, then you're technically losing another 1 or 2 weeks for the next patch. So it kind of like this, it's like a snowball of delays that continue to occur, which gives them less time to work on the next patch, which means there's going to be more bugs in the next patch, which means they're going to lose more time for the one after that by fixing the bugs for the previous patch again. And it sounds like an issue that, like he's saying, it's going to eventually catch up with them.
That's what I'm afraid of. More than a buggy patch day. A game that ultimately isn't as good as it could be, and a development team that constantly feels like the burdens of an insane production schedule sabotages their ability to do good work. And that when they do good work, there's every chance that bugs and issues likely that exist because this is all way too rushed, that means that players can't appreciate that work, which really sucks. Because while there are many warts, it's also true that World of Warcraft is packed full of fantastic work and great things from so many people. And that's why it really stings to see it all be let down by a continual cadence of buggy, sometimes broken patch launches. This cannot continue. It started about halfway through Dragonflight, I would say, and it seems that the trend line has only gotten worse.
Yeah, I agree with a lot with what he said there. The one thing that really caught my attention was what he said there towards the end, that this is like a rolling effect that's going to continue to get worse if they don't end up fixing it. Because every single time they release a broken patch, it takes a lot of time away from the next patch. And if things continue to get worse, you're going to continue to lose more and more time every single time you release a broken patch. So, interesting notes. The sad thing is, like I said, this patch overall, I've been enjoying it. I think the story's kind of cool. The raid's been pretty fun. The dungeon rotation's been fun. The season so far has been good. The delves have been fun. But the bugs, yeah, they're certainly there. I'm just thank God I don't play an evoker, because, man, they've had the short end of the stick. Anyways, we'll see what happens going forward. Nice video overall from Bellular.